Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. So we're going to give it a couple minutes for everybody to get logged in. I know a lot of you are already logged in out there. Some of you guys are still working on it. So while we do that, I'll talk just briefly about what we're going to do today, and then we'll get started as soon as it looks like everybody's logged in. So we're doing fractions, and we're doing addition and subtraction of fractions. We did a bunch of this yesterday, and so we're going to spend a little time doing a really fast review of what we did yesterday, but then we're going to move on to some new parts of it today. So if I go too fast and you don't get all the parts of it, just speak up in the question and answer, and I'll try and recover anything that we go too fast over. And if there's anything that you want to spend a little bit more time on, let me know, and if we can, we will, okay? Okay, good. So let's start with first, who am I? I'm Sam Silver. I've done webinars with a lot of you so far. It's been really fun. I'm a teacher at the Delphian school, and I work out at Heron Books. Part of what's good to know is all of this stuff that we're covering right now is covered actually in much more detail on the free downloads that will come to you after this webinar. We're going to do really a brief introduction to this topic, and you should be able to do some adding and subtracting of fractions by the end, but I don't expect you to be expert on it. If you want to get really expert, use the free download, use the course. If there's other math you want to do, there's a lot of resources there. We're trying to keep as many of you busy and excited as you can while you're stuck at home, because we know how it is. It can be a little rough. All right, well, I think that's enough time. I bet everybody's logged in. I say we get started. So we are going to start by reviewing some basics of what we did yesterday. So we're going to start by talking about fractions and just defining what a fraction is. So a fraction is an exact way of saying how much a part of something is, okay? So I brought my favorite examples possible. My wife made some cookies yesterday. So I thought, since we're talking about parts of things, I could eat a cookie. So if we divide this into two equal parts, see how I do? Oh, that was pretty good. So let's pretend those are exactly equal. They're pretty close. Oh, that's going to fall off. I better eat it now. So two equal parts. Each of these could be called a fraction. So here's how we do it with fractions. And we covered this in detail yesterday. It's covered well in the pack. If I go too fast, speak up. So we have on a fraction, we have a top number and a bottom number. The top number is called numerator. Big word. I'll say what it means in a sec. Denominator is the bottom number. Oh, I did have it right. Denominator. Hope I spelled that right. All right. So let's get out of the way. So the numerator tells how many parts we have. So let's take this cookie example. I broke it into two parts. I ate one. So I only have one part left. So that says how many parts. The denominator says how many parts the whole thing is. So there's two equal parts that make a whole. So this fraction would be 1/2. Numerator tells how many we have. Denominator says how many in the whole thing. Make sense? Okay, good. All right. Just to give you one more example, if I took this and I broke it into 4 equal-sized pieces. Not exactly equal, but let's pretend. It's really important that when we're talking about fractions, you get that they're equal-sized pieces. So now I have 4 equal-sized pieces that make up the whole. So the denominator would now be 4. And now I'm going to eat one of those equal-sized pieces. Delicious. So how many do I have left? I have 3. 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. So I would write that. Those are really delicious. I would write that 3 out of 4. And we can say it 3 out of 4, or we can say 3/4. Sometimes it's also written like this. That means the same thing as this. Just two different ways to write the same thing. 3 out of 4 or 3/4, 3 out of 4 or 3/4. All right. I think you guys probably got that. I'm going to check question and answer to see if anybody has any quick questions. Nope. But hi, Ellie. Thanks for checking in. All right. So the next thing we're going to go over is something, is just the word common. So it's spelled like this. You guys know this word. It has a little bit of a special meaning in what we're going to talk about here. And that meaning is it's the same for 2 or more things. So something that's common on both of my hands is both hands have fingernails. James, come here. It's my friend James. He's helping me.
Hi, everyone.
Something that's common to both of us is we both have noses.
Yes, I have a nose.
We have mouths.
Yep.
That's common to
Check.
both of us. Sometimes it means a lot of people have it, but in this case, it just means we both have it. It's the same on both. Our jackets are not common.
Right.
Even though my jacket is kind of common, meaning a lot of people have jackets like this, in this meaning, they're not the same. They're not the same on both. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Fabulous. Milo, sorry you can't see it on the board. I'll write in black. All right. That's the word, common. And hopefully you can see that now. Is that better, Milo? Great. Okay, good. So that's common, and that's important because we're going to be talking about, we're going to use the word common denominator a whole bunch of times. So common, sorry for my writing, I'm not the most pretty writer. Denominator. So that means when we have a fraction, we want to have common denominators, which means we want the denominator on both fractions to be the same. An example, 3/4 and 1/4. Those have common denominators because 4 and 4 are the same in both. 1/4 and 1/2. Not common denominators because 2 is not the same as 4, right? So that's a common denominator. Okay, good. And then we're going to go over this idea of an equivalent fraction. So equivalent means it's equal to, it has the same value, the same amount. So you could say like a $1 bill and a $5 bill. Those are equivalent fractions. Or not equivalent fractions, excuse me. Those are equivalent amounts of money. If I gave James $1 bills and he gave me a 5, we both got a good deal. It's the same. So that's equivalent. Now in fractions, we can have equivalent fractions. So 1/2 and 2/4, they're actually equal to the same amount. Sounds like a great excuse to get another cookie out. James, do you want to eat some cookie with me?
I would be glad to assist you.
So, James has 2/4 of a cookie. I broke this cookie into 1/2. I have 1/2 of a cookie. If I trade James my 1/2 for his 2/4, we both have the same amount of cookie, right? So even though it's written differently, it represents the same amount. They're just broken up a little bit differently. I don't know how you can see that. That's good.
Yep.
Let's test our theory. My 2/4 is better than your 1/2 because mine has coconut.
You weren't kidding. This is a good cookie. This is a really good cookie. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, James. I'm going to put my
pleasure.
1/4 away.
Let me know the next time you need a cookie eaten.
All right, we'll have a few more chances. I'll bring you in. Cookie eating skills. James and I have that in common. All right. So we were trying to go over equivalent fraction. I think you get it. It's two fractions that, or even more fractions. You could have 5 fractions that all have the same amount. You could have 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8. I won't write them down. We're going to move on so we have enough time to hit some of the new stuff today. All right. So now we're going to talk about fattening a fraction. You might think you do this by eating cookies, but that is not it. Sorry, my mind's on cookies, obviously. So sometimes you want to change the denominator of a fraction in order to get it to have a common denominator with another fraction. So the way you do that is you multiply both the top and the bottom by the same amount. So let's say I have 1/2 and 3/4. I want to have common denominators. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 2 and 1 times 2. I don't know if you can see right here, but I just wrote times 2 and times 2, just to make it easy. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So you can see I now have this fraction and this fraction have common denominators. And that's all we're doing. That's called fattening a fraction. So you multiply both the top and bottom by the same amount. You can also reduce a fraction. So reducing a fraction, you divide both the top and bottom by the same amount. So if I had 4/8 plus 1/4. So what I want to do is I want to get common denominators. So I want this to be 4 and this to be 4, or this to be 8 and this to be 8. So I'm going to reduce this fraction. I'm going to go 8 divided by 2. So that says 8 divided by 2. And what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to divide 4 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I have 2/4 and 1/4. And now I could add those very easily or subtract them, which we'll talk about shortly. So that's called reducing a fraction. You're going from bigger denominator to smaller denominator. But when the denominator gets smaller, the numerator also gets smaller. Okay, good. I'm going to check in. I'd like to just open it up for question and answer to see if anybody wants me to go over any of those concepts a little bit more. Kai asked the most important question. What type of cookie are those? The reason that's a really important question is it gives me a chance to show you, and while I'm showing you, I'm going to have to answer it with some eating too. But it's coconut and something called shortbread. It's really fabulous. Thank you, Kai. Appreciate it. All right, good. Olivia, you gave some great examples. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Srishti, welcome back. I think you came yesterday. Don't worry. We're just reviewing some of the concepts we went over yesterday. Addison, is my sound back? Great. Okay, good. Let me handle these. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next part. Just the last little bit of review. It's how to add a fraction. So step 1, common denominator. Step 2, add numerator. Okay, and that's actually all there is to it. You just create a common denominator and then you add the numerators. So if I have 1/4 plus 2/4. I don't need to create a common denominator. I already have it. So I just add the numerators. 1 plus 2 is 3. And I don't add the denominators. It's really important. That's where you can kind of easily forget and get messed up. So you just bring that common denominator over here. So 1/4 plus 2/4 is 3/4. I'll do one where we have to find the common denominator. So let's say I have 1/4 plus 1/2. Well, I can't really reduce this fraction, so I'm going to have to fatten this one. So I'm going to make this 2 times 2, 1 times 2. So I'm going to cross that out just to keep track of where it is, but it's 2, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 1/4 plus 2/4. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4 plus 2. Oh, not 4 plus 2, sorry. I almost make the mistake. I told you not to. We just bring that common denominator there. So 1/4 plus 1/2 equals 3/4. All right. I think we're probably good on that. So that's the whole review of yesterday's, all that we did yesterday. If anybody has a question, throw it up right now. Otherwise, we're going to move on to some new stuff for today. Okay, looks like we're good to go. So we're going to move on to the next idea that we're going to learn about. So we're going to learn about something called lowest terms. So let me get this up. We're going to read a little section of the pack. I think you guys all know this already, but we're just taking some little parts of the pack. If you really want to get into this and really know the subject well, you probably want to download that pack, read it all, do all the practice exercises. You can get really sharp at it, but this should give you a good introduction. All right, so we're going to use this pack, Math Essentials, Fractions Adding, and we're going to go to page 10, something we didn't do yesterday. Okay, so we're going to be talking about lowest terms. Term means the numerator or the denominator of a fraction. The terms of a fraction 3/4 are 3 and 4. The terms of the fraction 4/7 are 4 and 7. A fraction that is reduced to the smallest possible numerator and denominator is written in the lowest terms. So I really like to just point out, all we're talking about in lowest terms is we're taking the fraction and we're writing it with the smallest numerator and denominator that we can. So the fraction 3/6 written in lowest terms is 1/2. The fraction 6/12 written in lowest terms is also 1/2. A fraction is in lowest terms if there are no equivalent fractions with smaller numerator or denominator. 4/6 is not in lowest terms because the fraction 2/3 is an equivalent fraction with a smaller numerator and denominator. That was a lot to take in. I'll read that one more time. 4/6 is not in lowest terms because the fraction 2/3 is an equivalent fraction. So 4/6 and 2/3 are equivalent. They both equal the same amount. But 2/3 has a smaller numerator and denominator. 3/7 is in lowest terms because there's no equivalent fraction with a smaller numerator and denominator. So you get the basic idea of that, I imagine. Does anybody have a question on that? I'll just pause for a second for any question and answers. Okay, good. Looks like we're doing good. So we're going to move on. Just keep reading the last little bit of this. So here's an example of writing a fraction in lowest terms. It says, let's reduce 32/48. Can the numerator and denominator both be divided by 2, by 3, by 5, by some bigger number? Let's try. So if you'd like, go ahead and click on my face here, over on this, wherever my face is. Click on that, and that might bring it up on the board. James, is that working or no?
It'll work on phones, not on laptop to my knowledge.
Okay, that's too bad. All right, well, we won't do it that way. So why don't I just stop the share and we'll do it on the screen real fast. All right. Shoot, what was it? let's see, it was 32/48. Okay. So it's 32 over 48. So 32 out of 48. And there's a lot of ways we could do this. They said, let's just start by dividing by 8 because 32 can be divided by 8 and 48 can be divided by 8. So let's try it. So 32 divided by 8, 48 divided by 8. So that's just an equal sign, just to keep track. So 32 divided by 8 is 4. 48 divided by 8 is 6. Oops, what am I doing? Sorry, I just want to write it really thick so everybody can see it. 4/6. So now this is lower terms than this, but it's still not actually lowest terms. So what we could actually do is we could divide this by 2 and this by 2 still. And we get 2/3. There's nothing left that we can divide both of those by, so we have lowest terms. So 2/3 is lowest terms for 32/48. It's also lowest terms for 4/6. So when we're saying lowest terms, that's all we're talking about is let's get the fraction into the smallest equivalent fraction that we can. And it makes it a lot easier to work with. So people usually like to work with lowest terms because it's a lot easier to work with 2/3 than it is 32/48. Good. Okay, so let's see what's left in that read. I think we probably actually covered what it had. Yeah. So now it says, notice that 4/6 is not in lowest terms, so let's reduce it more. We did that. Usually fractions are given in the lowest terms because they are easier to read and easier to work with. Good. All right. So we're going to do a couple exercises from the book. I'll write them out on the board. Let me just put it up on the screen and then I'll put them up. I'll write them on the board and we'll do them together. So we're going to do exercises 19, 20, and 21. Here they are. So we're going to reduce each of these fractions to lowest terms. So I'll write them on the board. I'm going to give you a second to do them, and then I'll do them together with everybody. So we'll start with 6/27. We have, ooh, this is a big one, 20/60. And then way over here, we have 10/18. Okay, so I'm going to put that up and let's go ahead and let's do our best to put each of these in lowest terms. So 6/27, 20/60, 10/18. I'll open up the Q&A. I'm going to duck my head down so you can still see them. All right, good. Some of you are rolling it in. Okay, so let's put this in lowest terms. 6 divided by, I'm going to just go 3 because I know 6 divided by 3 is 2, and that brings that pretty far. And I can divide that by 3 also. Okay, so 6 divided by 3, divided by 3. So we get 2/9. All right, I can divide 2 by 2, but I can't divide 9 by 2. So I think this is lowest term. So we got 2/9. Lowest terms on that one. Let's do this one. I could divide both of those by 10. Is there anything bigger I could divide those by? I could divide that by 20. Oh, I could divide 60 by 20 also. Okay, so I'm going to divide them both by 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 60 divided by 20 is 3. So there we go. We got lowest terms for that one. Here, what do we think? Can I divide both of them by 5? Correct, I cannot. But I could divide both of them by 2, so let's try that. divide by 2, divide by 2. So we get 5 ninths. I can divide 5 by 5. I can't divide 9 by 5. Can't divide 5 by anything else. Okay. So we got 5 ninths. So there's lowest terms on each of those. So that's all there is to lowest terms. You're just trying to find that smallest amount. It's helpful because it helps you use things a little bit better. It helps you, lowest terms is a little bit easier to work with. Kind of like using, it'd be hard to walk into the store and buy something that costs $180 with $180 bills or with like 400 something quarters. It would just be kind of a pain in the rear, right? However, if you walked in with a $100 bill, a $50 bill, a $20 bill, and a $10 bill, you could have $180 and not have to carry so many things. So lowest terms is kind of like that. It's just helping you do things in the easiest way possible. Okay, good. So let's see what we got next. Okay, so now we get to do how to subtract a fraction. So we're going to go to page 22 on the book. If you happen to have the book out, we're going to go to the middle of page 22. If not, I'll bring you there on my screen. Okay, so we're going to start. If you can see my mouse, I think you can. Yeah. I wonder if I can click. Okay, we're going to start right here. So to subtract fractions that have different denominators, first find the common denominator, then subtract the numerators, and put the answer over the same denominator. Wow, that sounds like a lot. But it's actually really easy. So let's demo that out. So to subtract fractions that have different denominators. First, you just get them to have the same denominator, right? So let's do an example of that part. We've done this several times. This should be a piece of cake. And if it's not a piece of cake yet, after a little bit of drilling, it will be. So we have 1/4. Sorry, let's go 3/4 minus 1/2. Let's go actually even easier. We have 3/4 minus 1/4. So we have to first find a common denominator. Done! We already have that, right? Next, we have to subtract. So I'm going to put this up on the screen, and then we'll get back to the math page. So they have a common denominator, and now we just subtract this side from this side, just like adding. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then we don't do anything with this. We just bring the 4s over. So 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4. And then we could put that in lowest terms, which is 1/2. Okay, but now what if they have different denominators? That's what it was talking about. So if we have 3/4 minus 1/2, we have to get the denominators the same first. So we can multiply this by 2, and we get 4, and we multiply that by 2, and we get 2. So we just do 3 minus 2 is 1, and 4, and then we just bring the 4 over, and we get 1/4. So that's all that was saying. So I'll pull that back up on the screen, and I think you'll be able to understand it now if you had any trouble before. So to subtract fractions that have different denominators, first find a common denominator. Then subtract the numerators. So the top numbers you subtract and put the answer over the same denominator. So that was the 4 in that last one. And then finally, a really good practice to do, a really good idea is to always reduce to lowest terms. It just makes it a lot easier to work with. Good. So they give a few examples here. We won't run through those examples. We'll do some on the screen. So I'm going to do a couple examples, and then we'll move on. So there's a cool trick I want to show you before we run out of time. How are we doing on time? Wow, the time's going fast. All right, we got to do this really fast because I really want to show you this cool trick. It's kind of fun. All right, so let's take 2/3 minus 1/6. Do we have common denominators? No, we do not. So we got to reduce that or fatten that. I want to fatten that. So I'm going to multiply by 2, which will get me 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. All right, so now I do 4 minus 1, 3/6. So pretty simple. And then I could put that in lowest terms, which if I divide 6 divided by 3, I get 2, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that would be lowest terms. So there it is. I want to put a couple up there for you guys to do, and then I want to get to a fun trick, and that's probably all the time we're going to have today, is we're going to be able to do this fun trick to find common denominators. All right, so let's go. Let's just start with some challenging ones and see who wants to just dive in. So let's do 16 twentieths minus 3/10. So that'll be the first question. That'll be question 1. Then question 2 will be 8/12 minus 1/3. Okay. That's question 2. All right, I'm going to be quiet for a second, and I'm going to let you guys work on that. And I'll pull up the question and answer, and we'll read your answers as they come in. Whoa, some of you are ridiculously fast. Ridiculous. I'm going to actually keep my mouth quiet for a second, because if I read that answer already, I think most people would still be working on it. But I will say, Nora, you're right. Marky, you're right. I'm impressed at your speed. Okay, let's do it all together for anybody who wants to watch. If you want to just keep working it on your own, go for it. So we need common denominators. So I'm going to fatten this one. So let's go times 2. So this is going to be 20. Just going to write a line there to keep track. Maybe not the best way to write it, but it works. 10 times 2 is 20. 3 times 2 is 6. All right. 16 minus 6 is 10. 20ths. Oh, yeah, 20ths. And if we reduce that to lowest terms, that's 1/2, because 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 20 divided by 10 is 2. All right, now how about this one? I'm going to reduce instead of fatten here, because I could reduce this. If I divide this by 4 and this by 4, I get a common denominator. So 8 divided by 4, well, I'll just write it like that just to be easy. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So now we have 2/3 minus 1/3. Well, 2 minus 1 is 1. And bring the 3 over, we have 1/3. And that is lowest terms. If you need a demo, we have, James, you want to help again?
Yep.
So here I have 2/3 of a cookie. I looked away and my friend James stole 1/3 of my cookie. How much is left? 1/3.
Was I supposed to eat that? Good.
All right, great. Good. You guys did great on that. A lot of answers rolling in. Gosh, those are delicious cookies. All right. So we have enough time. I can show you the trick. So sometimes it's really hard to find a common denominator. There's a whole section on this. I want to show it to you, but I don't actually want to spend a lot of time reading it because it uses a bunch of words that we kind of skipped over. So I don't think it's going to make a lot of sense. I just want to show you where this section is in case you want to study it more yourself later, because we may go so fast it may not all make sense at the end. So there's this section. What if you can't find a common denominator easily? And I'm gonna just scroll up because I don't even want to have that text on there. So let's say you have 3/8 and 3/18 and 1/8. So I'm gonna put this on the screen. Oh, I should use black. So I have 3/8 and
There's 3/18 and 1/8.
3/18
Yep.
and 1/8. I guess either way would have worked, but this is a tough one. I don't see a quick, easy way. I can't multiply or divide that by a number to get to 8. I can't multiply that by a number to get to 18. It's a little bit tricky, but you can do this tricky thing. You can multiply the denominator times the numerator and the denominator times that numerator. And you can find a common denominator. It's a really cool trick. So watch this. So 18 so you have to do it for both. So let's start with this. So I'm going to multiply this by 18. So I get 18, and then I have to multiply this by 18 too, because anything I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. 18 times 8. I'm not actually this smart. This was in the book already, so I already had it figured out, but it's 144. So that is an equivalent fraction to 1/8. And then I take this, let's go over here, sorry about this. Oh, ouchers. All right, so then I'm gonna multiply 3 times 8, which is 24. And because I did that times 8, I need to do that times 8. Well, 8 times 18 is 144. So now I have two fractions. I could very easily add those or subtract those because I have common denominators. It's a really neat trick. It's usually called cross products. I'm going to do a couple more just because I think if you know this trick, you can do just about any addition or subtraction of any fractions. So James, give me any two fractions.
Okay, 8/24.
8/24.
And
Let's pretend we're adding.
there we go. And 3/5.
Okay, that's a good one because there's no obvious way to get a common denominator. But if I do my cross products, I'm going to multiply by those denominators. So I'm going to take 24 times 3, which off the top of my head is 72. James is going to check it on a calculator just to make sure.
Yep.
All right, good. Good, and then I have to, because I did 24 times 3, I also have to do 24 times 5, which is 121. Is that right?
120.
120. Oh, thank goodness James is checking my work. So there we have this fraction written as a large equivalent fraction. So now we have to take 5 times 8, which is 40. And we go 5 times 24, which is 120. We know because we just did that. And now we could add those two together. So 40 plus 72 is 112, right, James?
Yep.
All right, so we would have 112 120ths. And then from there, we could reduce it all. So with that trick, you can solve just about any addition or subtraction problem. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like you guys to make up a fraction, addition or subtraction problem and solve it. Anything you want. And you can do this at home. And while you're doing that, I'm going to put one more challenging fraction addition problem on the board. And after you make up your own problem and solve it, I want you to go ahead and give a shot at solving this challenging problem, and then we'll answer it at the end, and then that is going to be all the time we have. So first step, make up your own addition or subtraction fraction problem and solve it. You can share it in the Q&A. Go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put this, take the screen share off so you don't get distracted by I'm gonna take my face off so you don't get distracted by my problem that I'm gonna put up on the board. So I want you to spend a minute, make up your own fraction, addition or subtraction problem of any sort. And then put it into the Q&A. That was interesting. I just did something odd. Let's see if I can do that right. James, you want to look at this?
Yep.
What did I just do? Oh, there it is. Kai, I love it. 1/3 minus 1/3 equals 0. That's a good one. Pretty easy. Okay, good. We got some good ones rolling in there. Thank you for everybody who got one in. All right, so on the board is kind of the final question of the day, and I'm not going to do any of it. I'm going to do it, well, not in my head. I'm going to do it on a piece of paper, and then at the end, I'll give you guys the answer. And you can check your answer against my answer. And if you think you're right and I'm wrong, you can tell me. Sometimes it's true. Or if you look at your answer compared to my answer and you think maybe you can recalculate, you could go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to use cross products. Oh, whoops, that's what I did wrong. Good, 15 times 3 is 5. 15 times 4 is 60. That's what I get. Okay, I got my answer. I'm going to double check my work. Ooh, I just accidentally put a thing in it. Okay. Good. Good, I think my answer is good. All right, I'm going to open up a question and answer and let's see what everybody got. Oh, good. A lot of people put in a bunch of things. All right. Good. How much time do we have you up? We are out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and put it up. Shrishti, you nailed it. Well done. So here's my work. Sorry, it's a little bit messy. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it. Nope, not at all, it looks like, huh? So never mind. I'll just tell you the answer in the end. I guess I'll do a very brief show. This one gets up to 45 60ths. And this one fattens up to 8 60ths. And so if you add those together, 45 plus 8 is 53. So the final answer, this is what I got, and Shrishti did too. So if Shrishti agrees, we must be right. We got 53 60ths. Okay, guys, that was awesome. You guys did really well. I hope you learned some of the basics. We showed you a few little tricks. With those tricks, you can actually do just about any addition or subtraction of fractions. And like I've said a few times, I really recommend, if you want to get really good at this, take the exercises that you can download, practice them, practice them, practice them. If you want to get really, really good, go through the learning guide, learn all the things. We skipped over a lot of really great tools that actually can make this easier and can make you even faster on it. So do the best you can, practice some more. You can get really sharp at it. And I hope you find that addition and subtraction of fractions is actually a really easy subject for you in the future, because it can be quite simple. Okay, thank you so much. If you need anything else, type it into the question and answer. I'll do my best to answer you, and can't wait to see you for another class sometime in the future.